This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all of the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only two-time PWG Battle of Los Angeles champion, King Ricochet, and you are listening to Busted Wide Open Podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous, coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 206, I think this is. I don't know. I've just decided to start drinking Corona to try and defeat the coronavirus instead of, using vaccines or anything like. My name is Nick Howell.
And now officially cooler than Cody Rhodes, at least in the tattoo department, I am Sir Ian Dangerous. And, if you're having Corona to combat the coronavirus, I'm going to be over here having limes to combat Lyme disease.
Well, at least I'm not chugging bleach, and I'm going to be drunk instead of dead. So there we go. There's people drinking bleach?
Strange. People eat Tide Pods. What do you expect? It's called social Darwinism. I encourage it. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is BWO. We are talking about AEW Revolution today, as well as the latest episode of Monday Night Raw. And I'm looking forward to discussing everything today, Nick, because it was a hell of a pay-per-view coming out of AEW. Some big things happening. And then WWE, the booking continues. What in the world is, WrestleMania season, you scamp. But here we are. Welcome to the show. If you've not joined us before, Nick has a whole bunch of things you'll probably want to know to be able to enjoy this show even more. Right, Nick?
Yes, absolutely. Guys, come over and join us on Facebook. Just search for Busted Wide Open over there, and you can like our page and send us a join request to get into the group with the rest of the phenomenal ones, which is where you'll find links to our Discord channel, fun memes, news stories, all kinds of good stuff. Really fun, lively chat over on Facebook. But you want to be in the Discord as well, because that's where the real magic happens. Live chats all throughout the week for every single promotion. All wrestling fans are welcome. Absolutely come in and join us for live chats. Mondays for Monday Night Raw, Wednesdays for AEW and NXT, Fridays for Friday Night SmackDown, pay-per-view channels, all kinds of good stuff over in the Discord. Ring of Honor, Impact, you name it, we talk about it over there. Come join us in the Discord for sure. You can also find us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. We stream live right here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, as well as doing our patron mailbag show that we do around 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. To get in on that, to be able to ask questions, you have to head over to our patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for one of those awesome reward tiers. You just got to be in the $5 tier. That is the super value tier, where you get access to show notes, the ability to ask questions, and play along in our Patrons Pick'ems Challenge, which we will be doing next for WrestleMania. Coming up here in about 3 weeks?
You're no Alicia Taylor, man.
No,
gotta work on that.
I'm not. No, I'm terrible at that. Never aspired to be a metal singer. I just want to grow the beard and look like the bass player. That's it.
And play drums.
Well, I can't do that anymore either. Anyway, yes, join us on Patreon for all kinds of exclusive rewards over there. But yeah, Ian, while we came off the high, that was a particular pay-per-view that happened this weekend. There was a lot of slamming on the gas and then slamming on the brakes that seemed to happen on Monday Night Raw, but we're going to save that till the end because we always start with the good. So let's start things off by talking about AEW Revolution.
Well, let's start off on the pre-show, the buy-in, as they call it, and talk about the tag match we had over there. We thought it was going to be the culmination of a little plot line, but it wasn't, possibly due to contract reasons. But Dark Order versus SCU. SCU beforehand, Scorpio Sky and Kazarian told Christopher Daniels to stay in the back. They didn't quite trust him. Okay. And they came out and then lost to Dark Order. Ate a pin clean as a whistle, despite, a bunch of distractions. It's Dark Order. Fine. Then afterwards, during the beatdown, Dark Order, some music hit, and they all stopped and looked like they were getting ready for someone to come out. Oh, it might be the Exalted One they've been promising. And out comes a hooded figure, goofy-looking hooded figure, and we all went, what? And the hood came off and the cape came off. And it was Christopher Daniels. We all went, no, not you, Christopher Daniels. And he ran down to the ring, but he attacked Dark Order. It was a double swerve. And Christopher Daniels is actually still on the side of the Angels and chases off Dark Order. So we have a nice, happy way to go into the show. But we still don't know who the Exalted One is. So they saved that for later. We also had someone else run out during this. This is what I wanted to say for you to talk about, Nick, because out first to try to help SCU before Christopher Daniels came out and swerved us all twice was Colt Cabana.
Boom, boom! Boom, boom is the Exalted One. No, wait, no, he's not.
You ran for the save, Nick. The save.
Yeah. Oh,
just ran for the save.
I got excited when he came out. He boom, boom, Colt Cabana. Oh my God, he's the Exalted One.
Here I was thinking that he had something going on over in NWA, but I guess they weren't paying enough because he went and it's official. Colt Cabana to AEW. He signed a contract. He's officially part of AEW. So welcome, Colt Cabana. What are your thoughts on Colt in AEW? Is there room for him? Is there a place for him there?
I think so. I think there's place in that. I hate to do this to our boy, right? To my boy, I should say. I don't know if you're a huge fan of his or not, but I was disappointed to see. I don't know what the future of the tag team of him and Toru Yano is at this point. That's something that coming out of 2019, I was really excited about, especially getting to see it live and in person at New Beginnings here in Raleigh. No, you go. No, you go. No, I go. No, I go. Just that back and forth that they had as a comedy tag team.
Which, by the way, I want to throw out there. I hope that they still allow him to go over and work New Japan, which I think they will. They seem to be going in that direction of being open to it, even though Lance Archer's supposed to be coming out this Wednesday, and he's been dropped from the Suzuki Gun page, wrestler page over New Japan. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully Colt Cabana can go back in, because he just joined Chaos. Supposedly, kind of, sort of. He was out in the ring with the Chaos shirt on, not knowing what he was doing out there.
I think Colt Cabana he will go wherever people want to give him money to have fun and wrestle. I don't think he has any allegiances to anything, any one promotion, really.
Well, supposedly, he does now to AEW, so we'll see if they've given him some loopholes to go play some other places as well.
Yeah.
And then, like we were saying, Exalted One was not officially revealed. Probably, if it is indeed Matt Hardy, and we look back later and go, oh yeah, Matt Hardy is the Exalted One. That was the plan all along, because they're throwing so many kinds of hints out there that it is, which all, of course, could be red herrings. Same way that the Raven sitting ringside could have been a red herring. Same way all the Christopher Daniels stuff could have been a red herring, and it could be someone we didn't even see coming. Like, it could be Marty Scurll still. We don't know.
It could be Lance Archer.
Could be. I doubt it's Lance Archer. It doesn't. That's just doesn't seem to be his role. But at any rate,
it's Matt Hardy. It's Matt Hardy.
It might not be, but if it is Matt Hardy, and we look back and then say, why didn't they bring out the Exalted One at the pay-per-view? Well, it's because he was still under contract. His contract didn't lapse until about 12 hours ago. So yeah, that is probably why.
We did see his official future endeavors post go up on social media.
Done. He's done with WWE. So wherever he's going, it's somewhere else. Yep. So I picked a Dark Order to win here. It was kind of a coin flip, but I got lucky on this one. We got to the main show, and the show kicked off with a strange choice to open the show. Dustin Rhodes versus Jake Hager. And nice physical match between two big dudes. First match by Jake Hager in AEW. Was this the right match to open the show, though, Nick? Would you have switched this around with another match?
No.
Really?
No. I actually really liked this card, except for one match. This one was fine opening. I would have flipped another one around to a different place. We'll talk about that when we get there. This match, to me, was more about Jake Hager's smoke show wife on the ringside and both
crying
of
out
them
loud.
making attempts at making out with her throughout the match. Not making attempts, they actually did.
Well, yeah, the Dustin Rhodes like forcibly kissing her was a little awkward. I mean, call back to the Gold Dust stuff, but
Right.
a little awkward. I'm like, aren't you a face, dude? That's a little rapey. Come on, 2020, you can't be doing that anymore. Or you can, I guess, and everyone was still into it, so fine.
Yep.
But yeah, just nice grudge match. Hager got winded as hell by the end of it, but at the same time, he looked dominant, beat the crap out of Dustin, picks up the win, and
Had to.
yeah,
Needed to badly.
he needed to win his first one. He needed to win his first, even though it was a kind of cheap, low blow, and then he choked him out. But yeah, so once again, I like the fact that Dustin Rhodes put him over. Great, it was fine. But
Yeah.
I think it should have been switched with the next match. We both saw Hager winning here, but we both also agreed on the next match, Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin, which I thought would have been a hotter match to open the show. Switch the amount of time you gave both of the matches. I thought Dustin Rhodes and Hager went a little long, and Guevara-Allin went a little short. I would have switched the times on the two of them and switched the positions as well, because I thought this match was a lot hotter, and it had a lot more energizing moves. It was the young guys. Let them go out and really fire up the beginning of the show. Plus, the face won, and I always feel like it's good to start with a feel-good match, even though there was the pre-show. The bad guys won, and then the good guys had a comeback. So you had two bad guys winning in a row. This one, Darby Allin ends Sammy Guevara after a crazy match where both guys, I swear, were trying to kill each other.
Yep.
But that insane flip, was it a 630 or was it even more than that, from Sammy Guevara off the top turnbuckle to the outside?
It was a
through
630
table.
senton onto the table, yeah.
Holy actual crap.
But for me, it was before the bell even rang. Darby Allin comes like a damn lawn dart through the ropes all the way
to the
out by the
outside.
ring post to just air tackle Sammy Guevara. I was like, all right, I'm in. Where's my popcorn? I'm just gonna eat it. Here we go.
Yeah, he had another suicide dive where he almost died, where it was almost a suicide. His feet caught the top rope as he was coming through, and just barely got a piece of it. Almost didn't get him. Well, Sammy was draped over the outside, and whoo, that was close. That was almost really bad. That was like a Big E suicide dive where I'm like, oh God, go do it. Oh,
with the recent happenings of La Park and other things that have been going on.
That's the move that killed La Parka.
Yeah.
So, scary. So, but luckily no one was seriously hurt. They were able to finish the match.
It's not quite Brock Lesnar doing a top rope shooting star press, but it looked pretty gnarly.
But he recovered from it. They ended up coming back. The finishing sequence was really fun, and then Darby Allin with the massive coffin drop for the win. Fantastic, very entertaining match. What's funny is that if this hadn't been on this card, if this was on TV, we'd be like, that was the match of the show. It was great shit. It was on this card, and it was almost an afterthought after this card. These guys went out and killed it. It was almost an afterthought. We both knew Allin was winning here, but we had no idea who was winning this next match. Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, tag team champs, they're defending their championship belts against the Young Bucks. The Elite Civil War has come to AEW. And this is already becoming this is already being called the greatest tag match of all time, which I think is a little bit. Would you say that's recency bias and perhaps a little bit overselling this match?
A little bit of Bullet Club fanboyism going on.
Little bit. Certainly one of the best tag team matches in recent memory. I think that's easy to say.
I'm like, did you watch early TLC stuff back in like 2000?
Well,
that was. Yeah, that's all-time best stuff for me.
Like Rock and Roll Midnight Express go back in the day. But,
sure.
That neither here nor there. I was there live for Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus Young Bucks. I thought this was a better told story. I thought that had more exciting big moves. But I think this one would edge it out. I was really invested in this match by the end. They absolutely killed it in this match. Like, whatever hyperbolic reviews you've heard of this match, like, take it down a notch. It's still a really goddamn good match and one of the best matches of the year so far. I think that's easy to say.
Yeah.
They brought it, and they brought the story, they brought the action, they brought the moments. Like, it was fantastic. Really, really good match. The only problem is where it came on the card. What are you doing a half an hour match with this level of intensity and emotion third, and then following it with the women's match that was the worst match on the card, and then you're exhausting the audience for the rest of the card. Like, this should have gone first or later or something. This was I don't know if this is the right place to put it, Nick.
I wouldn't have put it first, but I wouldn't have put it last either. I think so. Look at it. Look at what was surrounding it. You had a lot of mix of action and speed and pace, and that's all that match was as well. That you asked earlier, the matches that I would swap or I would move around. There's one swap I would make, and that's the women's championship match and Pac and Cassidy. I would have put Pac and Cassidy after Paige and Omega and the Young Bucks, and moved the women's championship down between Jericho Moxley and MJF Cody.
It's funny, man. It's tough to say because anything following this match is going to suffer, and it did. It did.
But I think Pac and Cassidy would have had enough fan participation
if they
and
had
engagement.
If they'd spent more time in Pac Cassidy building up to the match. As it was, they kind of got right into their business, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
If they had more of a slow build and let the audience breathe, maybe I agree with you. But as it was, you were not following this match. And frankly, it's a little bit selfish of these guys to put a banger like this where they did in the show, because it did take the wind out of some of the later matches. I thought that MJF Cody was not only was it strangely booked, but it lacked a little bit of the energy because they were still exhausted from this. And same with Jericho Moxley. Like, this is one of those matches you can't follow it. It shouldn't have been the main event, but maybe it shouldn't have been this much. I don't know. It's hard to say, but whatever. We got a great match, so that's the upside. Boy, the storytelling in this too. I loved the Young Bucks hitting the two knees on the golden knees on the golden V trigger on Kenny. A little callback. That
was for all of us that have been along for the ride the whole time.
Yeah.
You know? Well done.
Matt trying
and
to go.
Commentary even called it out. Oh, they're going for the golden knees. I think it was Excalibur that recognized it and called it out, because JR and Tony aren't going to know that shit.
Yeah.
But Excalibur will.
I love that. So, Adam Page hit a one-winged angel.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of fun stuff in this.
This to me was this whole build has been the epitome of what we love about professional wrestling. The story around it, brothers infighting, all really with the same purpose, but when you introduce something that the other doesn't have, a little bit of greed and jealousy and insecurity starts to seep into the cracks, and it starts to splinter all of this, and then ultimately it ends in the ring, right?
Do you feel like this is going over old ground because we just had an elite civil war with Kota Ibushi, Kenny and the Young Bucks, and now we're having Hangman Page, Kenny and the Young Bucks? Like, is this
was that like 3 years ago?
No, it's less than that.
I mean, I don't want to assume that everybody that's watching AEW has been watching Bullet Club and New Japan for the last 3 years.
That's a good point.
That's probably not a fair assumption. So even if it for the ones that have been watching, it's a fun, I'm a smart guy. I was there. Hey, I was there. I remember. I know what that's about. Yeah.
Just because I just said that, dude. Why do you have to go low blow like that?
Exactly. So for those that haven't, they're going to go, oh my God, they've been at this for years.
Well,
whoa.
And also, this is a bit of a different dynamic here with Hangman Page being the one that's trying to pull away in a sense, and he established in this that he can hold his own. Like, he pretty much won this match single-handedly at the end, and then stood apart while Kenny and the Young Bucks were talking in the ring and kind of mending fences because things did get ugly in this. The Young Bucks worked a little heel in this, and then at the end, Hangman kind of standing apart and being like, I'm gonna ride alone. So it's funny. They didn't advance the storyline between these guys as far as I thought they would, but I felt satisfied at the end, if that makes sense. I felt like I enjoyed what they had given me, and I'm like, okay, they've put some of this to rest.
But where does it go from here?
That's why you got to tune in this week, Nick.
Tune in this Wednesday for Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, back in Rancho Cucamonga,
Hangman continues to get over with me in a big way. I have always kind of sided on Team Young Bucks, but yeah, they were working a little heel in this match, and it started to really push me over into that camp. And the thing that did it was that interview last Wednesday on Dynamite before the pay-per-view. We plucked you out of
you were a jobber in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, you were nothing. We found you, man.
if they're looking at that initial push of Hangman, where we were jokingly calling him Hangman Reigns, right, and he was just super Hangman going towards Jericho, then he lost, and they looked at that and said, okay, he's not going to get over that way. How do we get this guy over? If this was their plan to get him over, dear God, it's working. Dude is over as hell. He might be more over than
mission
Kenny
accomplished
Omega at this point. Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah, Kenny who? Right now, seriously, in AEW, Kenny who?
Can you believe that?
Right.
Yeah, Kenny's kind of almost an afterthought or
The
secondary
guy that took Okada to 3 championship matches, who?
But here's the thing. At any point, Kenny can go back to being a main eventer and no one's going to complain. If he wants to step down and let another guy, have a moment, that's good business. So more power to them for realizing that and capitalizing on it.
And I feel like there's so much potential. Look, the moment Kenny walks out in the Terminator robot mask and we get like old music and all of that stuff, and we get rid of the generic video game music that he comes out to right now.
I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again.
Kenny Omega
again. That was the cleaner gimmick. I don't think he's going to go backwards.
Sure, maybe not. But I'm a little over the video game generic guy Kenny Omega right now. I know that's hard to because I know the history and I know it's on a moment's notice they could push a button and he's the top star in AEW.
His entrance is way better than it was before. They've been improving it. The song sounds better. The entrance looks better. It's getting better.
I feel like it's Final Fantasy VII boss music. The fact that I know that makes me a nerd, but
where do you think his finishing move comes from? Half of his gimmick is Final Fantasy VII. What have you been watching? That's literally his thing, is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
AEW might shut down because they're doing the Final Fantasy remake. He might not wrestle for 2 months.
That's why they're not pushing Kenny right now, because it's about to come out in a couple of months.
Don't push me now. I got to play Final Fantasy VII remake when it comes out. I need the free time. So
yep.
Prepare for him to lose the tag belts by the time that comes out.
Right.
Oh, man. So that's the thing. The next match, how could it follow this? How could anything follow this? But instead they follow it out with the women's match, which was you had to come out.
I have to eat some crow here, by the way.
You have to eat crow?
I have to eat a little bit of crow here.
Okay. Well,
and I don't know where it's coming from. So Nyla Rose defending the women's championship, the AEW Women's Championship against Chris Statlander.
Yes.
From the day Chris Statlander was announced and debuted on AEW, I have been over the moon with potential for her, and I have been a little superlative and a little hyperbolic about my hopes and wishes to see her just rise to the top overnight. This and listen, I don't know who to put blame on, whether it was Nyla working as a base or calling the match, or whether it was Chris not hitting her spots and it being slow and prodding. This was slow. This was boring. There were misses. There were botches. The crowd checked out. I checked out. And I don't know whose fault it is, because I feel like they both had a part to play in it. But this is not what I expected the match to be between these two women.
As two guys who admittedly are not wrestlers, it's hard for us to point out exactly what went wrong with this match. But something went wrong. Something was not there. Yep. Something didn't click. Whether that was Statlander's fault or Rose's fault, as you said, it's hard to say without having been in that ring or without being a professional that can sit there and go, okay, well, Statlander. To me, as a couch observer, Statlander felt green, and Nyla felt like she didn't know how to become a match general and call the match and make things work. That's what it seemed like to me. But again, don't know. But something just didn't happen. Something just didn't click in this match. And it wasn't just because it followed that tag match. This would have been a bad match no matter where you put it on the card. And to be clear, it wasn't awful. We've seen worse matches than this in the AEW women's division. It's just when you have a title match and you have it on this card, they've got to bring it. Nyla Rose and Riho, every one of their matches was better than this. So you wonder, Nick, if maybe Riho should have had a rematch, although that would have been going to the well one too many times, or maybe it just wasn't Statlander's time. Someone else should have had a match with Nyla, because now, frankly, I think Statlander's a little spoiled to a lot of people. Also, yep. I've said this before, Statlander's gimmick is starting to bug me. Or lack thereof of really committing to the gimmick.
Because the commentary's making jokes of it. They're not explaining the outcome. The
kind of with good reason, though. Well, they could do more to sell it, but you can't sell a broken car.
All right. I think they could do a better job of explaining what the intent of the boop was. Like, that should have some kind of effect over you. If you're going to try and sell somebody as this fantasy alien character and her thing is to boop on the nose, that should like put you in some kind of trance or take you out or be some kind of stupid signature or finishing move of some kind that at all costs, don't let her boop you on the nose. And if she pulls it off, you're done. You check out and you continue.
Yeah.
Something! Make it something!
It's about as irrelevant as the librarians going, shh.
Exactly.
Like, what is it supposed to be? What are you doing with it? It's just kind of there. The best use of it, I thought, was in the match with Shanna, where she did it, and Shanna kind of sarcastically did it back to her, and they kept doing it back until she pie-faced her. That was okay, good. You've just made something of it. But aside from that, I agree. It's just nothing. A lot of her gimmick is just kind of nothing. So yeah, it's frustrating. And I'm sorry if the announcers are making jokes and laughing about your gimmick and not taking it seriously, you're dead in the water.
Yeah, it's not that's not going to do you any favors. By the way, quick little moment of positivity here in all this darkness that we're talking about. Josh Logan with $10 in the tip jar.
Oh, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Much obliged.
Did I see him say $1 for every F-bomb we dropped on Saturday's show?
That wouldn't surprise me. Did we get 10 off? That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
We probably did. That's actually low. That's lower than what I thought we were going to do.
That's less than I did on the actual night.
I was going to say, I think if we'd done our show the night of, we might have dropped more F-bombs. I had calmed down and was looking at it philosophically by then. But it's hard to look philosophically at this match, even though we both called it correctly. We missed. We thought the Bucks were taking the tag titles. We thought Nyla Rose was going to win. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad, Nick. But we were both had differing opinions about the next one. We were on the same page on those 2 matches, but on differing pages. Hangman pages. On the next match, MJF finally having to face Cody in a match, and boy, did they book this one through the roof, Nick. This had a lot of booking, and I guess I've got a question if it should have been this complex of a match. Like, it seemed like they were trying to do a lot of stuff, and the audience tuned out a little bit on what I thought going into this was one of the hottest matches.
Absolutely, it should have been this complex. They've spent the last 2 months building towards it, setting up stipulations like you can't touch me. You have to get 10 lashes. It closed out Dynamite one of Cody getting lashed in the middle of the ring. He had to do a crazy moonsault off the top of a steel cage to face Wardlow just to get his hands on MJF. Of course it had to be this complex.
I don't know. I feel like all the trappings kind of it took some of the air out of this match, though.
I don't even know you anymore.
What? I just
This was amazing to me. I loved every minute of this.
All right.
And
awesome.
I, as much as I didn't call it, I absolutely loved the finish. The fact that he got his ring over. They probably knew the finish of this match was going to be him hitting him with that ring before they ever built the ring, and it's probably why they made the ring in the first place, to make it instead of a belt or a title. Yeah. Oh, God. I love the long-term stuff that's involved in this show, guys. I can't rave about it enough. It feels like the thing that I've always wanted back in wrestling is back.
Yeah.
And it's the storytelling and the long-term investment. You have to be along for the ride. You can't just show up on any given Monday and just be like, wrestling, and just eat your concessions. You have to invest in this to appreciate it, and I understand why people don't appreciate it, because they don't invest.
Right.
And
I appreciate your passion on that, man. I love that this has gotten you so fired up like that. Like, that's what it's supposed to do. So that's awesome that it's having that effect on you. And I'm not gonna lie, like this feud got me going too. It's just the match itself. I don't know if it was the pacing or what. Or maybe it was just coming after that tag match where I was just on the edge of my seat, and this one was just like, all right, it was a good match. Yeah,
well, maybe it was that tattoo that was distracting us. We have to refer to Cody as the American Neckmare from now on.
Oh, what? Who? Even Brandy's like come out and been like, yeah, I didn't really want him to do it.
So
he has this huge, ugly
you guys
freaking
may
thing.
not know this, but Nick is covered in tattoos. I have tattoos all over. I just hide them.
Yeah, you're a tattooed
because of
man.
work. But
You got like Batista tattoos everywhere.
yeah, exactly. Like one day I'll show you guys. But anyway, if you've seen my videos and stuff about through the surgery, you've seen some of it. But I was looking at that thing and like it was dry already. He's had that for weeks. I don't know.
It's only been about a week. It's only been about a week.
But usually you have to keep it really moisturized that first week or it starts going really scabby on you. When I saw it on TV, it looked really dry already, almost like it was a press-on or a stick-on. And I was going in chat. I was like, that's not real. I got tattoos. Let me tell you something about tattoos.
The videos come out of him actually getting it, and you go.
And then I see his Instagram, I'm like,
God.
Shit, he really put that on his neck? Oh, no,
Yeah,
Cody, no.
And I also have a lot of tattoos, not as many as you do, and most of mine are quite a bit smaller, but I also have a bunch of tattoos here and there. And I have like a weird thing about where tattoos go on your body and how they line up. And like, I've got a lot of opinions, and probably you could call it OCD or just, something. I don't even know what you'd call it, but like I get really specific about where tattoos should go on body, how they should look, so that you don't end up looking like a desk in detention. You know what I mean?
Right. Or a bathroom stall.
Right. So when a dude comes in and he's got this massive, ugly thing stuck on his neck, it's too big. It doesn't adhere to any form of the body. Like it doesn't enhance any part of his body. Doesn't create any movement or anything. Like I've got like a whole weird philosophy about how the body is shaped and like contours the body and the directions of like lines. Cause I did a lot of like, art when I was a kid. So I've got a whole bunch of, anatomy lessons in my background. So like, I know which way the muscles move and everything.
Right.
So if I see this huge thing, in a part of the body that just goes against all flow of the aesthetics of a human body, it makes me insane. Yeah. It makes me nuts. It's like you put a decal on the wrong part of the car, and it's just like, what is that big ugly thing? And that's what he did. He put this huge ugly thing on his neck. And I get the idea, Nick. I get the idea is he's all in on his family. He's putting his neck out for them or whatever. And this
what if he ever wants to change his gimmick from the American Nightmare to something else?
Yeah, well, that's what he's saying. He's jumping off the cliff on it. He's just going Winona forever, right? For those of you who know Johnny Depp history. All right, so that's what he's doing here. I get that. I understand that. It's still stupid. There's so many places you could have put that would have shown all the time. Like his dream tattoo in his chest, awesome, perfect
Love
placement. It's over his his heart or whatever.
That skull flag is like purpose built to be a deltoid shoulder tattoo right there,
or a pectoral, or put it on your back, right?
Tramp stamp.
Put between your shoulder blades, or maybe not tramp stamp, but don't turn into Lance Archer. But you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of places that tattoo could have gone. That's literally the worst one. You are the CEO or whatever he is, CFO or whatever.
Executive vice president.
Right, he's an EVP of this $1 billion company. And you're showing off your decision-making process by putting that on your neck? I mean, we spent more time on this damn tattoo than we have on anything else on the show so far, and probably anything else on the show, because it was just so jarring.
Oh, no, we got some stuff to talk about later. We're going to spend some time on.
All right, well, let's move on from the damn tattoo.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
the American Neckmare from now on, guys.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. But yes, as you said, MJF does come out of this, the sneaky winner. Gutted the audience, and I loved it because I called it. I did not call it on last week's show, Nick. When we were calling this, I said no. MJF has more to gain by sneaking out a win on this match than Cody does. Because what do you do with MJF if he loses this match? He's got all that heat and he can run on with it if they decide to move on from this feud. So I'll
be interested to see what they do with Cody now because he can't challenge Jericho for the title anymore for other reasons we'll talk about. And do we have? I'm wondering if what I was thinking happens is going to happen now. But let's talk about the rest of the show, and then we can talk about like retrospectives of the whole thing and where we go from here.
Agreed. Ugh. Let's talk about this next match because it was the toast of Twitter after this show. I checked. This was the only match that was worldwide trending after the show was over.
What?
This next match, Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy just made himself a goddamn star with this match. Well, to be clear, Pac and Orange Cassidy made Orange Cassidy a star with this match because Pac definitely put in some work making him look good. This was, for anyone who's never seen Orange Cassidy's true gimmick, this was a glimpse of what this guy can do. Up until now, he's just kind of been there. He's been taking hits. Like, he does a cool thing every once in a while, like a suicide dive with his hands in his pockets.
Sure.
But he's never, as they said, he's never really tried. And in this match, he's going to try. Well, try he did. And good Lord, it made me smile ear to ear, Nick, to watch that place come unglued when Orange Cassidy started to actually work. Holy crap.
You mean try. He was trying.
You damn right.
Yeah.
You damn right. And I loved how Pac was booked in this too, where he was booked as an absolute killer who was frustrated to have to put up with this, what he considered a joke. And then all of a sudden it turns out that he's not a joke. The dude can actually wrestle and keeps like almost beating Pac numerous times until a whole bunch of interference at the end and Pac sneaks out the submission victory. This I thought great. Pac is protected. Pac still looks good. He can sell for Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is selling his offense the entire match, but also selling that he can mount these comebacks. Fantastic. And a gimmick that would never, ever, ever work in WWE because no one would understand it. And Orange Cassidy's gimmick's tough because it's always on that line, Nick, of not working. It's so hard to make this work. Everyone's got to be involved. Everyone's got to be invested. Everyone's got to pull it off. And it'd be so easy to make it stupid or silly or like too ironic. And it's just on that knife edge. And they nailed it here.
Even the commentary's in on it. They keep referring to it as freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Almost as if they're cutting a commercial or something like that or a promo spot. It's fantastic. So
the nuances too. Where is he from? Wherever. How much does he weigh? Whatever.
Justin Roberts calling is announcing him to the ring. He's from wherever. Weighing in at something.
Yeah. The ref going over to him, before the match, are you ready? He goes,
That was brilliant.
I guess. So, probably the most revelatory performance on the card. I loved seeing everyone lose their damn minds on Twitter about this afterwards, where everyone was just like, who, what? Hey, and you know what? His gimmick's not for everybody. Fine. But if you can watch this and not be entertained, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you want.
Stop
out of
watching
life.
Wrestling, or just go watch
who
some more
hurt you?
long Roman Reigns.
Right. Go watch a Roman Reigns Corbin match.
Yeah. Good
Lord. So the interference was the Lucha Brothers coming out and feuding with Best Friends, who were at ringside to help out Orange Cassidy. Interesting. Lucha Brothers versus Best Friends. I still don't know what the hell they're trying to do with Lucha Brothers, but at least Best Friends are getting a good look. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that.
I don't know. I feel like Lucha Brothers might be headed back towards Kenny and Hangman at some point.
I don't know. I hope so.
Because I feel like they're trying to do Chucky T and Trent Beretta as maybe the next ones, or they're going to do a contenders match or something like that with Lucha Brothers to go after, to be the next ones to go up. That's what it feels like to me, is that one of those two are going to be and it's Lucha Brothers. And I feel like they'll drop them, and then that might be the, I thought they were going to drop them to the Young Bucks, and the whole thing was going to go nuclear. But that didn't play out either. So who knows?
No, I don't know. I like that they lift it up in the air. It's AEW.
Like it.
Anything can happen. We unfortunately forgot to do pick'ems for this match because it came in late. But oh well, I was entertained by it. So
yeah,
we all win for this one.
Yeah.
Last on the show, Jericho versus Moxley for the AEW Championship. I like the fact this is, considering everything else that was on the card, they did build this match a little bit differently, for better or for worse. I think they had a hard time following a lot of these other matches, but they built this as just a brawl. They went out of the ring for most of the match and just brawled. And that plays really well.
Mox's signature thing, though. If you watched him throughout the G1, that's kind of what he did with everybody.
Well, and also recently, that's what he did with Minoru Suzuki. They pretty much left the ring and, hey, let's go beat the crap out of each other outside.
Crowd participation, you get what you paid for, and you get to slap some wrestlers on the back, their sweaty backs. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I think that's what they try to do with that. Again, I'm not a wrestler. I don't know. But I would want to go out and mess around with the fans. We see new championship winners. First thing they do is run into the middle of the crowd and dive into the crowd and things like that. So I feel that is like a little bit of a fan service, that you're taking it out to them where it's accessible and they can be in the moment with you while you're having that match, that feud. So sure.
Well, and it's also a good way to get them engaged again.
Sure.
After that freaking Pac and Orange Cassidy match, like, how do you get these guys engaged in you when you're not going to be doing a gimmick that's that fun?
Right.
But that also came at a cost. Moxley did eat a legit what it looked like a hard way cut above his eye that kept bleeding into his patch. So he kept having to like open the patch and release all of this, like these gouts of blood down his face, which was, it worked for the match. It probably sucked to wrestle in, but it worked for the match. And as expected, tons of interference. Hager comes out. You had Ortiz and Santana ringside. And one of the best moments of the match was freaking referee Aubrey once again stealing a moment and doing a 360 no-look-'em whammy, get out of here ejection from ringside, which Ortiz sold like he'd been hit in the face with a chair. Flying, oh my God, that was just the greatest. That was one of my favorite moments of this match.
Little death the road there, a little spinny.
Yep.
I'm out. Yep.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
So they were all kicked out. So it's down to Moxley and Jericho. Sammy Guevara come out of the audience, lays out Moxley with the title belt. Looks like it's going to go to Jericho after all, but no. Moxley reveals he'd been playing little possum. He'd pulled one over. He perhaps was not as injured as he'd like you to think. He knew something that you didn't know. He's not left-handed. And he pulls off his patch and reveals that his eye is just fine. And while Jericho had blinded him with his other eye.
It was fine all along, Austin.
So he gives a nice big DDT. What does he call it?
Paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift. Right. Not the. I kept getting stuck
Death
on
Rider. Paradigm shift.
New Japan. Whatever. He gave him the big goddamn double arm DDT. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley is your new AEW champion. I was shocked. I thought they were going to keep it on Jericho for a lot longer, but that is not how AEW does business. They decided to put it on Jon Moxley nearly a year after Jon Moxley, as Dean Ambrose left WWE to go seek his fortune in the wide world. And nearly a year later, he is the top guy at the number 2 company in the U.S., and he is a champion at the number 2 company in the world over in New Japan. Johnny Two Belts is looking good. Dude, mad props to that guy for betting on himself and coming up aces. Good Lord. So
far are we from standing by flaming trash barrels, taking immunization shots, and wearing gas masks
and bear costumes,
and
squeezing mustard onto a Money in the Bank briefcase? A long way, a lot more serious. You're having bloody knockdown, drag out matches, which instead of well, honestly, the Lunatic Asylum was a good ending to the match with all the thumbtacks.
Sure.
But his feud with Jericho, how different is the feud over here in AEW? It's
Mitch the Houseplant is missed. It would be kind of cool if he brought that back, unless WWE has also tried to trademark that.
But how much better than Mitch the Houseplant is stabbing people in the eye, 4 GTs, a little bit of the bubbly getting smashed on Jericho's head.
Touche.
And all the rest of the stuff that they've done in this feud.
Touche. This was fantastic. I kind of saw this coming a mile away. Every now and then I get one right, and this was like the one that I got right this whole show. This was, it felt right. It felt like the right time to do it. It felt like the right time to pull the trigger, because this sets Jericho on a path of retribution and getting it back, empowers the Inner Circle, sets them on dastardly deeds and tasks, and they can just go run roughshod now, free of the title and not having to be the centerpiece. I actually really like this for the Inner Circle and the highlight that it's going to bring to them. Let Mox have a moment to shine with the title. Let's have a face with the championship for a little bit that is super over with the crowd. Let's see how we've seen how the Jericho dynamic worked the first 6 months. Let's see how the face dynamic works for the next 6, and then we go forward from there.
Give him something new. And not only that, we also had a big announcement during this show. that could play into what you just said.
Oh.
And that is that their next pay-per-view is actually going to be War
Games.
I mean, blood and guts. Excuse me, blood and guts. It's not War Games, it's blood and guts, but it's the same idea. It's two cages, two rings put together. So that means they're going to have to get a couple of big teams. So the Inner Circle is obviously a big team already. So Inner Circle versus Moxley, Darby Allin, and I don't know, a couple other guys.
I love that Tony and the Khan family are okay with pot shots and jabs at Vince
Blood
McMahon.
and guts. Oh, that's so good.
Calling it blood and guts is goddamn brilliant.
And there are people that hate this kind of, jabbing. I find it entertaining. It's in good fun. They're not. Yeah, come on. Have a sense of humor. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
What did you think about the show overall, Nick? Did it live up to the hype? Was it worth the $50? How did you feel after another major AEW pay-per-view? Like, did they build up to it correctly? Did they pay off? Like, what'd you think?
I was 50-50, to be honest.
Well,
there were some really high spots, and there were a couple of things that I had but for a lot of it, absolutely. Now, what I'm saying I'm 50-50 on is I'm looking at the context of, was it worth $50? Yeah. Would I continually do this every 3 months? So in essence, would I be paying, let's see.
Do the math, buddy. Come
50, on. Yeah. Would I be paying, $200
bucks a month? $17, yeah. $200 a month?
A year. I'm sorry. Would I pay $200 a year to watch 4 or 5 major AEW pay-per-views? And I go, right. I don't know. Right. I really don't know. I'm so spoiled by the network. I don't know. And I don't fault people for questioning whether or not it's a dilemma, it's a decision. I've been through this. I went through this last summer with Fight for the Fallen, Double or Nothing, all of those. I remember sitting down Memorial Day weekend. You were in Vegas for Double or Nothing, and I was sitting there going, am I really going to pay $50 for this untested company's first pay-per-view? Like,
curiosity factor. That's the thing is, with this pay-per-view, the curiosity factor's gone. Now they have to deliver. Right. And they did a brilliant build to this. That build package, they had like a 40-minute long road to Revolution video show that went on after Dynamite last week. And it was killer. It was lights out.
Awesome.
I was excited they had me excited for everything. I was like, oh yeah, $50. Hey, take my $50. Looking back in hindsight at the card and the show, would I have paid $50 for that knowing what was on it? I'm leaning just on the side of yes.
Yeah,
That's
what I meant by 50-50 when you jumped a little bit earlier. That's exactly.
Okay. But I'm saying I'm 60-40 yes.
Yeah.
I'm 60-40 yes.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of yes. I'm glad I paid for this. I would
here's
continue
the big
to
thing
do so if
for me.
they continue to put on something of this quality.
Yeah, and here's the big thing for me post-show. Like, it is what it is now. We paid for it. We watched it. There it is. Fine.
They took our money now. Now
where do we go from here? Moxley's the champ. Nyla retained. Hangman and Kenny retained, and we've got a couple of new feuds that might be firing up. Are you excited for the next 4 to 6 weeks of Dynamite at this point?
I mean, we were calling out how it was a bit of it kind of sucked that Orange Cassidy and Pac had their match thrown together at the last minute. Yes, they had a couple of run-ins over the last few months, but there was nothing for that match, really, except for the two characters getting thrown together. And that was one of the best damn matches on the card.
It was.
So at this point, but conversely, Nyla and Statlander was kind of thrown together, and that was the worst match. So I think it remains to be seen. They've got plenty of time to build up more feuds, to do some more interesting things. Lord knows they have the talent. Yep. This showed that they can pull it off. Do it again. That's pretty much all it comes down to. You did it? Can you do it again? You did All In. Can you do Double or Nothing? You did Double or Nothing. Can you do All Out? Do it again. That's all that they have to do.
One foot in front of the other, like you're describing.
Continue to be on this level or higher. That's all they have to do.
And if they do this for 3 to 5 years, watch out, because then they'll have a lot of talent, they'll have a lot of money, and they'll have a lot of say in what they're doing. And if you don't think Ted Turner's over there licking his chops after seeing this pay-per-view and what they've been doing on Dynamite, dominating since day one, since they debuted.
Put the visual image of Ted Turner licking his chops ever again in my head, please. Ew. So I took the Pick'ems 5-4. It was a close one, Nick. It was a close one, Nick.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. And nothing to be ashamed of. Good stuff. But no, Nick, we were talking, you mentioned the talent over in AEW. Well, I got to say, Nick, between the Revival jumping ship, it looks like, and Matt Hardy definitely jumping ship from WWE, given what we saw last night, I'd say there's a possibility of a lot more people wanting to jump ship after how they were booked over on Monday Night Raw.
Randy Orton is a no good son of a bitch.
Rat bastard.
God.
Gotta say, so I led into Raw by saying some people are not being booked well. Randy Orton is not one of them. Randy Orton is, he's knocking it about as far out of the park as I've ever seen him knock it. This segment that he had, the main event, the last thing we saw on Raw, where Beth Phoenix came out to supposedly tell us how Edge was doing, but got cut off mid-first sentence, and out came Randy Orton to get in her face and finally give his explanation for why he took out Edge. Nick, I've got to go back and see if Randy Orton has ever been better on the mic than that. I had goosebumps.
I'll save you the time. He has not.
Edge of my seat, emotionally invested. Like, I was actually getting mad at the crowd for chanting RKO. I was like, guys, shut up. Like, let the man get this out. And kudos to Beth too for selling it back. Like, it's harder as an actor to react than it is to act.
Yeah.
And she was doing a great job of reacting and being emotional and believably taking in his words when he said them. And his words essentially were that he had taken out Edge because he cared about Edge. He went down their whole history, how he'd come into the business and Edge had been the guy to come up to his dad and, pay respects and then kind of take Randy under his wing and be there when Randy was at his lowest and, all the stuff that they had shared. So how much he cared about Edge, and then to see him get taken out of his career and come back, and he thought, well, you can't come back because if you do, then you miss out on all of the things that you taught me how to respect and have in your life. The family, being there for your kids, being a good father. And if Edge came back, he was risking not having that because he could possibly be in a wheelchair and would not be able to be a good father to his kids anymore. So Randy said, I had to do it, because just to keep him from that. And then he blamed Beth Phoenix and said she was an enabler, said that he's a junkie, he can't stay away from wrestling, and you don't give a junkie drugs, you don't mix a drink for an alcoholic, and that's what you're doing, so it's your fault. Your typical twisted heel logic, but Nick, by God, he knocked it out of the damn park.
It's like you. I can't handle the hellfires. You just keep pouring them. You keep putting them in my hand. You damn enabler.
It is nothing like me whatsoever. You should know better by now. When you come into my bar, you're getting it. You walk through that door, it's gonna happen.
Listen,
you get in the ring with Randy Orton, you're gonna get RKO'd. All right,
it's concertoed or worse.
Whatever.
I need to talk about this Raw at the beginning a little bit because I like the way you write this, but I feel this Raw in particular had bookends.
Absolutely. Well, that's why I reversed the bookends because I had to scream at Randy first.
You did. But I actually really this segment was lights out Randy Orton. The bookend of it at the end saved for all the other stuff we're going to talk about in a few minutes. The ugly gooey center. That's that candy that you bite into that's in the Russell Stover's box that's just absolutely disgusting, but the outside chocolate's pretty good. That you don't know, you can't really see what's in there.
Right. Usually it's the other way around.
On the front end, though, we opened the show hot.
Yeah.
Super hot with Brock Lesnar coming out with Paul Heyman. They do a Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman thing.
Drew is not legit. He's being hyped. He's overhyped. He's a fraud, blah, blah, blah. And then Drew comes out, stands toe-to-toe with
As soon as he
Brock.
calls him a big, stupid bitch.
Yep. Brock fakes like he's going to leave and then comes back in and eats a Claymore. By the way, Brock's closing speed is just goddamn terrifying. Can I say that?
It is.
Like that, the speed of that moment when Brock looked like he was leaving the ring and then was back to the middle of the ring so fast that Drew barely had time to flip backwards and hit him with a Claymore. Both of those guys moved so quickly there. It was mwah. Loved it.
I don't care how big of a man you are. You see a 275-pound monster like Brock Lesnar running at you.
And you do a
Just
standing
shitting
one leg
myself.
drop kick? Okay. Good stuff. But then, as you were saying, Brock then, Drew leaves and Brock is humiliated, walking up the ring, fuming, steaming, growling at the crowd. And as he's about to get to the top of the ramp, Drew McIntyre comes out from the back again and blindsides him with another Claymore.
Brilliant camera shot, too, because you see him come out of the shadows just from the back. Just,
You
oh,
can tell
no,
that
he's
camera
coming.
was waiting
Yep.
for that, too. He's just hovering around Brock. And then he gives him another one. The crowd chants, give him another one, and he does.
And he finally
Brock's
picks up the
knocked out.
title and holds it up.
Knocks out Brock. So the crowd is hot for that. And and as you said, Nick, it was a great juxtaposition of bookends because you start the show with that, and the crowd is just, that crowd was lit for the rest of the show.
It's Brooklyn, too, right? That Brooklyn's
Right.
always going to be a hot crowd.
Oh, they were chanting, "You deserve it" at Brock. They were chanting, Nana, hey, hey, goodbye. They were fired up after this segment. They were loving them some Drew McIntyre. They were loving Brock getting beaten down. And then at the end of the show, they just eviscerated that crowd because after Randy Orton spills his guts to Beth Phoenix, she slaps him and he takes a second, looks like he's about to hit her, but he doesn't, takes some breaths, gets in her face and just very quietly, you can't hear him, even though Mike's right there, you can't hear him. You just see his mouth go, bitch. And she boots him in the gut and eats an RKO. RKO's the crap out of Beth Phoenix and walks away. A bunch of people come out from the back to tend to Beth, who has been knocked out, including the Edgeheads, Hawkins and Ryder. Don't notice that. Rey Mysterio was there. R-Truth. Who else?
Reverend
Devon.
Reverend Devon was there to give last rites.
So, a very dark way to end the show. But as you said, the bookends were one of the best parts of the show. Just great finish, great end, or great beginning, great end. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
The rest of the show, not so much.
And the one thing that kind of bothered me about that Randy Orton finish was the crowd chanting for RKO the entire time and then cheering when he hit it on Beth. And I was like, okay, I know the WWE crowd can be bloodthirsty, but come on, man. I don't know. I should expect it by now. I shouldn't be shocked or surprised or disgusted or whatever, but I was just like, come on, guys. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where I question Nick. If he's supposed to be a heel, I know the RKO is a great, devastating move, but should he bring back the punt or something like that, which is a heel move that people don't cheer for? Because the RKO is just a little too popular, isn't it?
I don't know. I think they're trying to. It feels like they might be trying to build him up as a face here because the speech that he gave was very facey.
Oh, no. The crowd was even chanting bullshit at him. Like, it was typical twisted heel logic.
Well, I mean, that's
the
part.
The fact that you thought it was facey shows how effective it was.
Yeah, that's typical Randy Orton stuff. We never know. Randy Orton is Randy Orton. He's not a heel. He's not a face.
How do you think he's a face here? How do you think that? Nick!
He was doing the hard thing like any brother would do.
What? All right, you kayfabed me. God damn it, Nick. Jesus.
When your brother's down in the dumps, you drive him to rehab and you drop him off yourself.
Or you drop
You do
him
what
with a
needs to be
concerto.
done.
You're right. You drop him
Or you give him a
rehab,
concerto.
You
Yes.
give him a concerto. It's tough love. Instead of him ending his career, you end his career. That's what a good brother does. You take him out back and you shoot him in the head yourself.
I'm going to do it myself like any honorable brother would do.
Like New Jack City. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Blam, blam, blam. That's all right. So that's the good stuff. Something else that was good, but also completely bizarre, was the first match of the show. We had the Street Profits versus Rollins and Murphy as a title shot, a rematch of Saudi Arabia, and the fifth title match the Street Profits have had since December. Only this time they can never challenge for the titles again if they lose, which they didn't. They won thanks to Kevin Owens coming in and giving Seth a stunner, and AOP getting kicked out from ringside, all the distractions that came along with that. Street Profits win.
This was brilliant. I love this whole
crowd
exchange.
Erupted, and everyone was freaking out. Had a great time with it.
And it happened in about 6 minutes and 17 seconds.
It was a great moment. The crowd was hyped for it. They were hyped for it. Everyone's happy for them. But what the hell is going on? We just had a match that they lost in Saudi Arabia They get a rematch here, and then we have another match between Rollins and Murphy and the Street Profits on Sunday. What are you doing? What is going on? What is with this booking? Why?
It made sense until I heard them announce. They had the backstage thing after the match with Rollins and Murphy.
Yeah.
And then they said we're gonna get our rematch. And then they announced later they're like, we don't do that anymore in WWE. We don't automatically get. No, this Sunday at Elimination Chamber, Rollins and Murphy will get a rematch.
Wait,
what?
What?
No, that's not how this works anymore.
Look,
On
the upside,
it's still my hope.
A real tag team has the tag belts, right,
Yes.
Nick? The Revival also tweeted that out. Scott
Check.
Dawson was like, yay.
Yes. I still am holding out hopes. I'm on my last hair, which I have a plenty of, but it's my last one, that we're still going to get War Machine and AOP. Because we saw AOP try to interfere. They were out in their gear. It looks like they wanted to get in there. And when they were announced to have Murphy and Rollins having a rematch at Elimination Chamber, I was like, no. Listen, I'm very excited about Seth Rollins and KO, some kind of no DQ stip we're going to get at WrestleMania. Very excited about that.
Seth said, I'm going to crucify Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, you want a match? You got it. You name the place, you name the time, you name the stipulation.
Yes.
All right.
Cool. But listen, I'm not excited about Street Profits AOP at WrestleMania. I'd be excited about Raiders AOP at Mania, but I don't know if I'm excited yet about AOP Street Profits because they're taking them belts off of Street Profits.
Yeah, I don't know if the Profits lose the belts right away on Sunday. I'm
back to Murphy and Rollins. Then we can rant and rave.
I'm gonna get
this
back
is
to
okay
table.
though.
I'm gonna get back to my table flipping ways. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But this was bizarre. I was like, what? Why? Cool, but yeah. I don't know. Very
it was
bizarre
all
booking.
Downhill from here.
The bizarre booking did not stop there. AJ Styles was supposed to have a match with Aleister Black. Apparently, Aleister Black can't read. Or just doesn't, or is just a dumb WWE babyface. Apparently didn't read the contract because AJ said, well, to get to me, you got to go through Carl Anderson. Well, after a tough match, Aleister beats Carl Anderson. And AJ goes, oh, you also got to get through Luke Gallows. And Luke Gallows beats Aleister Black so badly that the ref has to stop the match, award Aleister the win, and Aleister is barely able to stand, and then he gets to face AJ, who pretty much mops the floor with him. Okay, on the one hand, they protected Aleister by making it look like he went through some serious hell, and that's the only reason he got beaten. And he's got
another
a no
ref
DQ
stoppage
match.
in the middle of this. Like we ranted
to show
about
how
this like
badly
crazy.
he was getting beaten, Nick. It was just showing how badly he was getting beaten, But at the same time, on the other side of it, it makes Aleister look like an idiot for not reading the contract, and it's his first loss on the main roster. And yes, it's to AJ Styles, but it's still kind of an ignominious loss. They didn't even point that out. So, and the entire time, it was more about AJ baiting the Undertaker. He gave a speech about how he's not going to, walk away from the Undertaker, even though Mark Wahlberg advised him to. And he's going to go right for the Undertaker.
Of all people to give you advice in the middle of promoting the new movie.
Hey, man. Yeah. The man used
and
to
then
dance
the
around in his
Brooklyn
underwear.
crowd, of course, chimes in with Marky Mark chants. Brilliant.
Of course.
Well
they were
done,
feeling the good vibrations, if you will. So at the end of this, he even pins Aleister Black with the Undertaker's, cross arm, tongue out pin. So is Aleister Black just a third wheel here? Like, yes, he's got a no DQ match he's got a no DQ match with AJ on Sunday, which of course the Undertaker's going to interfere with and give Aleister the victory. So he's going to get his win back. But is this kind of an ignominious way to use Aleister Black here?
Is this the passing of the torch that we've prophesized
from
Undertaker to Aleister Black that we kind of wanted?
I'm
not completely out of this yet, man. I'm skeptically optimistic that they're going to do some cool shit here because these are three really good dudes that could come up, and I trust in AJ.
If we have a moment between Undertaker and Aleister in the middle of the ring where Undertaker gives some sort of acknowledgement to Aleister on Sunday, that could mollify me a bit. That you might calm me down. Right now, though, I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared for Aleister. The other thing I want to point out is, if you follow Alistair on Tumblr, and I can't believe I just said that, but if you follow Alistair on Tumblr,
is it 2003?
Right. He's got a lot of stuff he puts up there where he posts about what his costumes represent. He talks a lot about that. He's got a lot of really interesting posts there about that. So it got me thinking I should probably keep an eye on what he's wearing when he comes out and not just look at Rowan's shirts. So I looked at what he was wearing. He was wearing a vest. On the back, it was the tarot card for the Hanged Man. And a quick Google search later, I came up with the Hanged Man is the card that suggests ultimate surrender, sacrifice, or being suspended in time. And another one is, in the general context, the Hangman tarot card indicates that you are in a situation that you are not happy with. You may be feeling like you are stuck in a rut or trapped in a situation or frame of mind that is not making you happy, but you have the power to release yourself.
That's deep AF.
Just some food for thought for those of you wondering if Aleister Black is throwing out some clues about his mental state or his character's mental state going into this. So, yeah, just something to think about there as we go to Sunday and AJ and Aleister have their rematch. Another match we had on the show, it was not the scheduled match. Asuka has a legit sprain on her wrist, so she was not able to face Shayna as initially booked. Instead, her tag team mate, Kairi Sane, got to face Shayna in a rematch of some old NXT title matches. Little more lopsided this time than those matches, as Shayna just dismantled Kairi Sane, just broke her to pieces, and then threw the corpse at Asuka afterwards. Middle of this match, Becky Lynch comes out, gets her full frickin' entrance, comes out in like a pimp robe with a Burger King hat on, or it was actually like Jerry the King Lawler King hat. She stole Baron Corbin's.
It was
gimmick.
King's crown.
Was it King's crown?
It was King's crown that he has sitting on the table with him. Yeah,
okay,
she didn't come out with it. It was sitting on the commentary desk.
She basically stole Lawler and Corbin's gimmicks and kind of smushed them together and sat at the table. Even though a couple of weeks ago she was saying, if I see Shayna, I'm going to kill her. She didn't kill her. She just sat at the table and cracked jokes.
She's being a little dickish last night, if I'm being honest. There was a little bit of ego and kind of...
I don't mind the ego. I don't mind the cockiness. It's the goofiness and the lack of intensity that I mind.
Yeah.
We went from her wanting to kill Shayna for ripping a hole in the back of her neck to her goofing off at the top, sitting up with the announcers and talking smack to Shayna from up there. Oh, I'll fight you, but I'm not wearing my wrestling shoes. What are you doing? I don't. That's not the road you want to be going down. If they're trying to de-escalate this feud now to build it up more later, all right.
There's 3 weeks.
Come on, man. You got to get this thing rolling.
Yeah. We need some physicality real quick. Let's
major de-escalation. I don't think this was a great match to introduce Shayna to the main roster audience. There's a couple of questionable things here. So, and the final question I have is, will Asuka be ready for Sunday?
To be determined, because this was a last-minute thing. Just within the last hour leading up to Raw last night.
They said no.
Yeah, Charlie broke the news on Instagram, and I tried to share that back out for everybody. But yeah, that was a last-minute call. She must not have showed up and gotten medically cleared in time, because that was a big surprise.
Throw a big honking cast on her like Adam Cole and have her still go. She's not going to have anything to do after she gets beaten in the Elimination Chamber, so just fine. Well, I guess she's got to defend the tag belts theoretically, but whatever. But ultimately, though, Nick, here's the thing. If she can't work the Elimination Chamber, might that ultimately be better for her? Like, is that kind of to protect Asuka? Like, maybe she doesn't have to be sacrificed to Shayna before WrestleMania, and it leaves Asuka out there in the world as kind of, it protects her a bit. Is that maybe a good thing to not have her in the Elimination Chamber, at least from Asuka's perspective?
I'm not 100% sure, and I don't know if I'll have a position on this. Like, let's see if she wrestles first, if she can perform first.
Yeah.
But I want to see what happens at the Chamber this Sunday, because it's mostly an overlooked pay-per-view anyway. Short of last year with the Kofi run that started at Elimination Chamber, if you remember that, which is a point that I wanted to make. By the way, last year for the WWE Championship, we had Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan going at it in Elimination Chamber that led to going through a gauntlet against the New Day that led to him getting an opportunity at WrestleMania for Daniel Bryan's WWE Championship. This year, Roman Reigns walked out and goes, "I'm next."
Well, that was for the Universal Championship next, so it's a little different.
Neither here nor there.
Drew McIntyre had to go through the row. I know what you're saying. I mean, it's rare we get a story like Kofi Kingston. You know what I mean? Like, I have a feeling that's going to be coming somewhere else on the card is some sort of long-term build.
But the point I was getting at.
Look at Randy. Okay, I see what you're saying.
The point I was getting at, it doesn't have to be that way. We've got people like Asuka and Shayna, and we can make them run through gauntlets, and we can build the storyline, and we can build the crowds, and we can make people invest.
I thought they had it pretty set with Shayna and Becky. Like, you had them simmering, and then you turned down the heat on the oven. What are you doing?
Well, I've been saying for weeks, and people have been making fun of me that I'm cooling down on Becky Lynch pretty quick, and it's still happening. So
I'm still
nothing's
gonna make
changed
fun of you for that. I'm still gonna make fun of you for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit more bizarre booking there. Let's get to a bright spot, Nick. We had a tag match: Rey Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade Cien Almas and Angel Garza. Yes, he was there kissing your grandmothers. My God, these guys brought it again, dude. Jesus.
It's too much.
Maybe it's too much.
I mean, I can't handle it. How good these guys are. It's too much.
I thought you were saying this. I didn't like this match. It was too much.
Lucha
They gave us too much.
It's lucha overload when you put all four of these guys in the ring together, and then you have Andrade eat the pen.
Yeah.
Your top guy in this group.
From Carrillo, which is actually, considering the fact that now Carrillo and Andrade have a U.S. title match at Elimination Chamber, which is a rematch of their pre-show match at Royal Rumble. But hey,
right? We hadn't seen that before.
This is why it's weird to me. Is like, I don't know. It
fresh,
feels like we're running in circles.
He's eating a pin fresh off his 30-day suspension.
at least we're running in circles and getting fantastic matches out of it.
Sure, fair enough.
So, that being said, you know what's crazy is I feel like they never really got out of third gear in this match.
No,
you know,
save
like
it for Mania.
They could have gone to some higher gears here, and that's scary.
Put them in a fatal four-way for the U.S. Championship in a ladder match at
WrestleMania.
My God. My head would explode.
Sold. Yeah. Hopefully that's the direction they go in after Elimination Chamber. We shall see. All right, Nick, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Riddick Moss, your 24/7 champion, pinned Ricochet clean as a whistle. Pinned him clean as a whistle to retain the 24/7 championship in the longest 24/7 championship match of all time.
By the longest reigning 24/7 champion, Riddick Moss.
How panicked should we be for Ricochet at this point that he just lost to Riddick Moss clean as a whistle? Yeah.
I don't know what he did. I don't know who he's got naked pictures of, but something going on with Ricochet in the back.
Yeah. Is it just that Vince is tired of him? What is the percentage chance this is Ricochet is going on a losing streak and he's going to get some redemption down the road? What's the percentage chance of that, or is he just back to Loserville? Is he off to Cedric Alexander Gimpland?
I mean, he won the U.S. title and then it was like nothing. He had the North American Championship for a minute and then nothing.
Got a big spot in the Royal Rumble and then
he got the tag championships with Aleister Black and then nothing.
Yeah.
And then Royal Rumble and then nothing.
And now I've used you. I've used you up. I don't like the taste of you anymore. Spits him out and he's done. I really hope that's not the case. I want to stay skeptically optimistic about this, Nick, but there's a sinking feeling in my stomach that we're only about a month or two away from Shorty Rick. Or, I mean, I was actually going to say, he's going to go to SmackDown and team up with Gable. But the problem is that you can't have Rick and Shorty in WWE because AEW is cornered the Rick and Morty market. So, although I'm not going to say that, having the Rick and Shorty tag team is beyond them at this point.
Why don't you have Scotty 2 Hottie and Grandmaster Sexay come back out?
Yeah, it's just.
I'm sorry.
I'm all for getting Riddick Moss over. I love me some Riddick Moss. He looked great in this match. They both did, but
he's fine. Heck, what are you doing to one of the most talented professional wrestlers maybe ever? Like this guy flying around all over the place.
He can work, but is he fitting the mold of what a WWE superstar should be? Personality, charisma, all the rest of it, as well as in-ring work.
Should he be over there with Leo Rush and Swerve Scott and everybody doing the cruiserweight stuff? Maybe.
At this point,
it's too late for that. But
I pray that's where he lands if this continues. I'm scared for Ricochet. I want to stay positive. I want to stay skeptically optimistic, as we say. But this scared the crap out of me when I saw this.
Yeah.
At least the commentary put over a little bit that he was still beat up by Brock Lesnar. At least he did that. And one loss is not the end of the world.
Well, I played his bumper at the top of the show in memoriam of his presence in WWE because they got a long road ahead if they're going to rehab him. Write him off TV for 6 weeks after this or something. Give him some kind of Andre the Giant thing to do at Mania, and then let him go away, and let's figure out the superhero thing ain't working. Do something different.
Andy Jessup in the chat just said he's the first 10 people in the arm bar. And I'm like, no, don't you speak that evil into existence.
Yep.
No, Andy. No. We also had the Riot Squad Implodes match. Ruby Riott versus Liv Morgan with Sarah Logan as the special guest referee.
What?
Okay. It was fine. It was fine. And Ruby fell into Sarah Logan at one point. Sarah got all butthurt about it and then fast counted Ruby when Liv pinned her. And then Ruby got mad afterwards. Sarah hit her. Then she hit Liv. And so, yeah, going to Elimination Chamber, we have another little story going on. The Riot Squad all bickering together. So fine. Do you think this is engaging enough to have its own storyline, or will this just die after Elimination Chamber? It's just something to pass time.
Let's see. I'm a fan of feuds that are outside of the orbit of championships. Let's like the Corbin and
You're
Reigns.
a fan of it, but that's
so
what I'm
the
saying,
Corbin and
WWE
Reigns thing, as shitty as it was at times, it had promise, right?
Roman always has like an invisible belt on him, though, Nick. You know that. Like he can be in any feud, and we've said it before. But he's in the mid card. It's like it's still Roman. He's still the most important thing on the show, right?
Can I get a word out?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a fan of let's have feuds that are happening, blood feuds that aren't circulating around titles. I'm okay with this if it becomes a story. I hate that it's put together the way it is. Can we have a legitimate match? By the way, quick aside, dear Cody.
Oh no.
If you want to do neck tattoos, Ruby Riott is a fantastic example of how to do them properly. They are part of a larger piece that encompasses your breast and your shoulders and the back and your neck all the way around. Not just some kind of stamp stick-on thing you got out of a cereal box on the side of your neck.
Oh! Way too big and garish to be out of a cereal box.
Anyway, back to the ladies. I like this for reasons that I want to see more with Liv. I like her repackage. I want to see her get more time. I want to see them do something with that effort. Fine. Ruby coming back as a heel, turning on the Riot Squad. Okay, you have my attention. Let's see how that plays out. Why did Sarah Logan need to be a part of this? Why does Sarah Logan
she's the other member of the Riot Squad.
I understand, but why does she need to be in Elimination Chamber? Why do all three of them need to be in Elimination Chamber with Asuka and Shayna Baszler that's ultimately going to determine who can go face Becky at WrestleMania? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. That's where you lose me. That's it. I'm fine with the three of them doing their own thing.
I want to have my side stories, but I don't want to have it be based on a story that makes sense, which is the Riot Squad imploding.
Sure.
What? Okay. I'm confused. But
they're in a contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship.
Right.
That has nothing to do with Riot Squad imploding.
But you know where they all stand. They all have beef with each other. It's not like Sarah Logan has an alliance with Ruby Riott. They've established that they're all. We're spending way too much goddamn.
Apparently, she does for Liv Morgan because she fast counted her for the 1, 2, 3.
But then she hit her afterwards to establish that she wasn't.
That's true. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it.
All right, go with it, damn it, because we gotta get on this next thing and bitch about this. Eric Rowan finally revealed.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Eric Rowan finally revealed what was in his cage.
I don't know whether to cry or laugh.
We knew it was going to suck whenever he finally revealed what it was, but we didn't know it was going to suck this bad. It's so bad that like this is going to go down as I've been maybe not Mae Young hand status, but this is bad, man.
This is worse than Mae Young giving birth to a fucking hand.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry. That F-bomb snuck out. I apologize.
That's the worst one ever.
Listen, I'm not sure if I'm up till now. And I want to, on the record, I went and looked this up. This started on November 11th.
Oh, God.
It is March 3rd.
Half a year. Half a year.
This started on November 11th with him bringing the cage out for the first time.
And
we've
all
speculated.
Someone had to do the entire time was ask him respectfully what was in the cage. As No Way Jose found out as he turned the corner with his posse, his conga line.
That's all
it
was
like, Eric Rowan. He sees Owen there at the cage. Rowan, we all been wondering what's in the cage. Can you tell us what's in the cage? And Rowan just goes, I've been waiting for someone to just ask me politely this entire time. So I will show you what is in the cage.
Hey, hang on.
Here it is.
I got to finish my line of thought here because I've been waiting all day to get this out.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This started on November 11th.
Yeah.
This entire time we've speculated on, was it his old sheep mask? Is it ties to the Wyatt family? Was it going to be Hornswoggle? Was it going to be some kind of wild animal? What was it going to be? We've been round and round and round about this, and the internet has exploded with all of this speculation, but he pulls that, and throughout this, we've seen him stick his hand into the cage, and it spurt blood all over his face and get bitten on the hand. Yep. And when he reveals this, it looks like a toy spider that you bought at the Halloween store.
I think
am I supposed to believe that it's a real spider, or am I supposed to be in on the joke that it's a fake toy spider?
Right. Is it supposed to be a fake toy spider, or is it supposed to be a real spider? Or
I'm so conflicted. I don't know. It's making me mental. I don't understand what's going on.
Like, how hard would it have been for them to actually get a real Goliath bird eater spider?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know how rare Theraphosa blondie is, but they had them for arachnophobia. They exist. You can get your hands on them.
Oh.
But so the fact that it was a very obviously an animatronic, like, little toy spider, like, and No Way Jose and the conga line goes running. They go running. And Eric Rowan turns around this thing in his hand. Now you know why no one wants to. Oh my God, Nick.
I was beside myself because I was just trying to process all of the different facets of this. Like, okay, it's a spider that is a toy that has somehow been biting him, but it's a plastic toy and it doesn't have real fangs.
So no, obviously it's supposed to be real. Okay, so now what if, okay, I'm going to go on a ledge here and tell you how this could be made great.
I'm scared.
Eric Rowan challenges for the 24/7 championship, throws the spider on Riddick Moss, who gets petrified, lies completely still. The spider is the new 24/7 champion.
That would redeem it.
Okay.
The plastic toy Halloween animatronic spider is the 24/7
champion.
Done. I'm in. That's it. That's the only way you can pull it off. It's the only way you can save this.
Okay, of these two, which is the worst reveal this week? The toy spider or Cody's neck tattoo? Which is worse?
Oh, the toy spider by far and away.
Really?
Oh,
you think?
Oh, are you kidding?
No, the toy spider will go away. That tattoo is forever.
I mean, there's laser treatments and stuff, but
not for dude. That's a thick, heavy. Like, nope. That's there.
The toy spider is by far and away the worst thing ever. If they somehow figure out how to make that toy spider the 24/7 champion, you will have redeemed yourself.
Right?
But
and if
I don't have that much faith.
Turn his tattoo into an entire turtleneck neck piece and then a large like arm sleeve, he might be able to redeem that tattoo.
Listen, we've all seen Batista. He's covered in tattoos. Somehow he still pulls off Drax because they spend 4 hours painting his ass before.
Well, yeah, they paint. The Rock has an entire sleeve, and they can paint him.
Yeah.
Cody ain't going to get painted every day.
Sure.
And also Batista, even though he's covered in like early 2000s tribal garbage tattoos, still better tattoos than Cody. So
we do have to do one positive thing though before we get out of here, and that is Rowan Shirt Watch.
Oh God, thank God. Thank God. The Brothers of Metal. Even that's not very positive. I'm not a fan of power metal.
Yeah, you're right. I like some of it. It's like final boss, heavy guitar music.
Yeah,
Guitar
fine.
solos for 10 minutes.
They're fine,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Even his shirt couldn't save him this week, Nick.
Well, what we are going to do to transition out of that horse shit that was the spider reveal is we're going to go over and do our moment of positivity.
Yes, cleanse me, Mop.
Sir Ian Dangerous, what was your moment of positivity between AEW Revolution and Monday Night Raw?
Cleanse my soul after that horrible stuff on Raw. Oh my goodness. Orange Cassidy. Just that Orange Cassidy match. I was ear to ear. I was ear to ear, dude, with a smile on my face for that match. My face hurt. I was grinning so hard. And then afterwards to see how much it blew up on Twitter, people who don't watch wrestling were retweeting GIFs of that match and going, this guy is my spirit animal, right? Like I saw people analyze it in the 80s. Hulk Hogan was a representation of the spirit of the U.S. and Americana and rah, rah, rah. In the 90s, Stone Cold was anti-corporate, anti-boss, rebellion. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. And now in the 2020, Orange Cassidy just is tired and wants to go home. That's all represents us. It's that right there. It's a mirror.
He's
it's
like
a mirror. It's like a mirror. So for me, the Orange Cassidy match and the aftermath was absolutely my moment of positivity. God, that made me happy.
I know a lot of people look down on it as the thing that was executed, but I have to say that the promo cut by Randy Orton last night on Monday Night Raw might be one of the best I've ever seen.
We've had a lot of great promos lately too, man. Nick Aldis is out there killing the game. Cody's killing the game. MJF, Jericho. There's a lot of people. Not Moxley. His promo at the end of his promo at the end of Revolution left something to be desired.
This is my moment of positivity here.
Please.
In WWE, I can't remember ever seeing a promo that I was just sitting there mouth agape going,
Recency bias much?
What's that?
I said, I think that's recency bias. I'm sure we could go and find a bunch of other fantastic recent promos. I know Seth's given a bunch of great ones. Drew's given a bunch of great ones just recently. However, I will absolutely agree with you that this may be one of the best ones Randy Orton has ever given. I'll go with you on that.
Yeah. I went back and watched it again. I watched the RKO several times. He hella protected Beth.
Oh yeah.
With the RKO, she sold it like death. Mm-hmm. She took it like a champ.
She sold his promo like we said.
This whole segment, I never saw this coming to, and that might have played into this a little bit. I never saw the tale that he wove.
Oh, okay.
As being the thing that was going. I thought he was just going to come out and give Beth a concerto, and Edge was going to run out to save her, and that was going to be Edge's back, And Brooklyn was going to lose their shit. That place would have erupted if Altered Bridge had fired up. But I never expected that twisting of the tail from Randy Orton, and the way that he spun it, the way that he did it, just God almighty. Was that written? Was that scripted? Is that just Randy?
It was so natural. It flowed out so seamlessly. Who knows? That's how good it was. The rumor
that was easily
is
my mop.
Yeah, the rumor is that Heyman's allowing them to kind of do their own thing a little bit more, and whether that was bullet points that he just strung together or not, I got chills. I got chills when he was saying it. Like I was invested, so it
just kept going and going and going.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
yeah,
my
it just
God,
kept flowing.
Randy, what thespian are you? Good Lord!
We don't say that often about Randy Orton. He doesn't often get to stretch his theatrical wings, as it were.
Boy, did he.
Boy, did he.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Ian Dangerous, and thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Wait, we're not done yet. We've got just enough time for our other news and lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
All right. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Matt Hardy's contract has expired, and he has openly said he's open to going anywhere. NJPW, Ring of Honor, AEW. Who knows? Who knows where the man's going to land? But we could find out as soon as tomorrow, because tomorrow is the first Dynamite after Revolution. They've been saying the Exalted One is near.
Yep.
And I'll tell you right now, if the Exalted One comes out and it's not Matt Hardy, that's a wide world out there.
It better be somebody good.
Right, with all this buildup? Yeah, definitely.
It better not be QT Marshall or some shit like that, right? Eating an apple. The world would implode
Michael
on AEW.
Nakazawa.
Exactly.
No, don't make it Nakazawa.
No.
WWE
He comes out and just oils himself up. I am the Exalted One.
Oh no.
That's a very WWE thing. It's not going to be Nakazawa.
Yeah, that would definitely hamstring a lot of goodwill towards AEW.
Yeah.
WWE pulled Leo Rush from WXW 16 Karat Gold at the last minute. What a shock! WWE screwing up people's schedules.
Yep.
To try to undercut indie shows. They never do that. Luckily, Jeff Cobb exists, and he came along and he filled Leo's spot almost immediately. So good guy Jeff Cobb does it again. Also, Alex Shelley was supposed to be on that show, and he dropped out for an entirely different reason. Alex Shelley actually his regular job is as a caretaker, and some of his patients are immunocompromised, and due to the fact he'd have to travel to Germany and all the travel that would happen, he's worried that he would, even if he doesn't get sick, he could be a vector. So he doesn't want to put the people that he works for at risk. So he apologized. He had a nice apology that the WXW retweeted. He said, as much as I want to finally wrestle in a legendary venue against someone awesome, I have to do what's right by my ethical compass. So good guy Alex Shelley unfortunately had to drop out of WXW. The Dark Side of the Ring by Vice is coming back for season 2. They're starting with a 2-hour Benoit episode. So the first episode is going to be all about everything that went down with Chris Benoit.
Oh, boy.
If that wasn't enough reason to start watching it, guess who's the narrator for season 2? All of season 2, apparently. Chris Jericho is going to be narrating Dark Side of the Ring season 2. Where is that guy not? Where is Chris Jericho not? Good Lord.
That money.
I'm gonna be watching the crap out of those.
Yep.
The first season was great. WWE forgot to include Michelle McCool in their their website gallery of the top 45 women to ever hold a title in WWE and NXT, and she was kind of pissed about it. Took to the internet to vent her grudge and say, "What? Come on, man! No love for me? I know I'm the Undertaker's wife, but that's not why I'm saying this. I was in Lay Cool, remember?" And WWE has since amended their top 45 women to 50, including her and Bull Nakano. And they said, look, we updated it. And Undertaker's account, we don't know if this was her tweeting from Undertaker's account or if it was actually Undertaker, he tweeted out too little too late. Well, yikes. This is what happens when you forget about Mrs. Undertaker and something. Good Lord. WWE wants to get into Japan. We've talked about this before. They want to get over there into Japan and get some inroads there. They have been working with AJPW, All Japan, trying to perhaps buy them out entirely or work with them. We know that Jun Akiyama, who works with All Japan, is coming over in May to guest train at the Performance Center, and that all of Japan Wrestling is bracing for if WWE tries to invade their territory and what that's going to do to Japanese wrestling if it messes up all of their circuits the way that it screwed up the UK when they went in there with NXT UK and kind of massacred the indie scene over there. So more as that develops. AEW has an interesting wellness policy. It doesn't have one, apparently. According to Meltzer, they do not even have a wellness policy. They have in their contracts they can drug test you whenever they want, but there's nothing beyond that. So it's
what qualifies as a drug, as a bannable substance?
Exactly. I guess it's just something there in case Teddy Hart ever joins them, and they just have to have an excuse to have an out. Conan.
He just puts you in a match with the Undertaker. No, that's Teddy Long.
No.
Wait, no.
That's Teddy Long.
You said Teddy Hart. I think you said Teddy Long. Sorry. Never mind.
Notorious bad boy, Teddy Hart. Get out of here.
Sorry.
Conan had some interesting thoughts on the relationship between AEW and AAA. You remember how AEW and AAA formed a bit of a bond, and right now, currently, Kenny Omega is the Mega Campeon, and the Lucha Brothers are the tag team champions in AAA. Well, there's a reason that AAA guys haven't really been coming over to AEW. They haven't had anywhere to use them. They've been on the grind the weekly grind, and that's kind of been making it harder for them to include guys. Apparently, they were very high on Ehud Vikingo and Laredo Kid, but never materialized because they were AEW's just gotten too busy. They still have a good relationship, obviously, going the other direction. They still want to work with them in the other direction, but it might be a while before they're able to really start integrating some of the AAA guys into some of their stories because of just the grind of the road. So interesting thoughts by Conan, who's currently booking down there in AAA.
Nice.
Let's see. Eric from the Viking Raiders missed some live shows after Saudi Arabia. He came back and got sick. So we no word on what sickness it is, but hopefully he's drinking those Coronas just like you, Nick.
Yep. So
get well soon, Eric. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Gail Kim, Amy Dumas, a.k.a. Lita, and Christy Hemme want $400,000 on Kickstarter to make a women's wrestling TV show that they're calling it. So far, they're calling it kayfabe.
Okay.
They're describing it as 50% story and 50% in-ring action. It is an edgy, racy, cinematic television series about a female-led professional wrestling startup. This show is a dramatization and collection of female stories inspired by real events. And yes, this is still at its core a wrestling show with world-class in-ring action. Let's see. We address the 800-pound elephant in the room, and in the current landscape of the world, abuse of power, manipulation, injury, addiction, inequality, and the euphoric high of pursuing your life's passion that clouds every damn decision. So, interesting.
The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling 2020 edition?
Maybe mixed with like a real like kind of a Lucha Underground presentation without all the fantasy. I'm kind of intrigued by what they're saying here. You know what I mean? Where it's half glow, but then it's half scripted television.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, half like supposed to be off the cuff.
It's produced. It's post-produced.
Yeah.
It's put out there as a sitcom of sorts, right?
Sure. Glow with like actual wrestling matches, and we go through the season. So more like, So interesting. Curious to see where they're going with that.
Yeah.
If you want to support them, you can head over and look up Kayfabe Productions LLC on Kickstarter. Finally, Nick, tonight on Backstage, the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame will be announced.
Ooh.
So
what time does it come on?
What is that? 10 Central?
Eastern?
11, yeah, something like that.
All right.
Something around then. I don't have that in my notes, damn it.
Yeah. I don't know if I even have
Backstage.
FS1. Please put that on something besides friggin' FS1. For God's sakes.
Yeah. You get it on the Fox app, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the news, Nick.
Well, thank you very much, Surrey Dangerous, and thank you guys for hanging out in the chat. Special shout out to our YouTube chat for us on the live stream here. If you guys are not listening to this, if you're listening to this in your ear holes tomorrow, or on Wednesday, I should say, you're missing out. You should come join us on the live stream every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. It gets lively in here and lots of good stuff. We love interacting with you guys while we're making the show. Hopefully those of you that are listening to it on the audio-only podcast, that comes through how much fun and how much we love engaging with you guys. But youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you jingle that bell. Make sure you set it to all because there's some issues with YouTube notifications, by the way.
That's crazy, isn't it? And thank you to everyone in the chat who joined up with us today. It keeps growing, getting bigger, and you guys are awesome.
Yes.
And it's fun to look over and see everything that everyone's saying there. So thank you guys very much for hanging out with us during the show. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, make sure you slam that like button too if you had a good time today. And if you're watching this later on, you can find links to everything I'm about to say below in the description underneath the video here. But come over and join us on Facebook. It's kind of the hub of our operation, all of our news and memes and good times, as well as a link to our Discord community where we have the live real-time chats that are going on all throughout the week across every show and pay-per-view event that happens, as well as some lifestyle stuff. Like if you just want to rap about music and movies and, general lifestyle stuff, we've got that for you as well. In addition to archives of all of our past pay-per-views where you can go back and watch all the chats. If you're going back and watching old pay-per-views, you can certainly go back and read through the comments as they happen. That's fun. I find myself doing that frequently from time to time. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. As I said, streaming here at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Please make sure you subscribe. We're up to the 700 mark, guys. Inching ever closer to that magic 1,000 subscriber mark that we need to get to. Please and thank you. Please continue to spread the word for us. We love you for it. Last but certainly not least, a big shout out to the phenomenal ones, our patrons. You guys are the grease that keeps this wheel going. Thank you very much for all your support.
I'm glad you ended that with the wheel, because I was worried you were going to say grease that keeps something else going. It was just going to get weird and it's awkward.
Where's your head?
Michael Nakazawa still. I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, okay. You are the Michael Nakazawa of the Busted Wide Open podcast.
Hey, the baby oil that keeps Michael Nakazawa slick.
Keeping us oiled up.
Never mind. Yes. You know where I'm going.
All right, then. Patreon.com/BWO is where you find all of your exclusive rewards. And if you want to support the show, it is the best way to do so. Thank you guys to everybody that is contributing every single month. You can get access to the show notes for every single episode. You can get the ability to ask listener questions for our exclusive patron mailbag episode that we do every single Saturday after our main show. Everybody's welcome to listen, but you got to be a patron to get your questions in every single week at just the $5 tier. Bonus episodes at the $10 tier, Skype calls with Nick and Surrey and Dangerous all the way up. Hell, you can even be an exec producer and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair himself.
Woo!
For a mere measly sum. And all kinds of rewards, all kinds of stuff happening, and it's only going to grow over time as we go into almost year 4 here, Surrey and Dangerous. Good God almighty, there's a lot going on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. My name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.